Hello everyone, my name is Gabby, and today I have another mini reflection for you guys. I titled it For Those Who Know the Truth, and I'm going to be focusing on 3 verses, and they're found in Isaiah 57:11-13. Whom have you so dreaded and feared that you have not been true to me, and have neither remembered me nor taken this to heart? Is it not because I have long been silent that you do not fear me? I will expose your righteousness and your works, and they will not benefit you. When you cry out for help, let your collections of idols save you. The wind will carry all of them off, a mere breath will blow them away. But whoever takes refuge in me will inherit the land and possess my holy mountain. So I was reading over Isaiah, and a lot of verses that matched well together, and at first I was going to do a bunch of them together, but then I found this specific one and it really spoke to me, and I realized that there was a lot of depth in these 3 verses, so I decided to break them down into sections, in 5 sections, and for each section I wrote kind of like a translation in my own words of how I interpreted it. So the first one says, and it's the first sentence, it says, whom have you so dreaded that you have not been true to me, and have neither remembered me nor taken this to heart? And the translation is, who such what are you chasing after that is so important that you have left me behind, completely forgotten me, and have not allowed me to enter your heart? So when I read this, what really came to mind was kind of God talking to us directly, and like I'm talking about all the youth, specifically all the youth that grew up in the church. I guess this is where I'm focusing on, or even those who know the truth about the gospel. So it's kind of the way this is read, it's kind of inferring that you already know the truth. I guess what I'm trying to say is the way that I received it is, what are the things that are stopping us from crossing over? Because I know a lot of people, and I've heard lots of stories, including myself, like in the past, like it was really hard to just kind of leave everything that I liked behind and chasing God full-heartedly, and I feel like that's an issue for a lot of us. And so I just want to leave you guys with the question, like, what are those things that are really stopping you from crossing over and from completely dying to yourself and living for God? So the next section is it not because I have long been silent that you do not fear me? And the translation was, has my silence become a reason for why you have no respect for me? So when I hear the word like fear, in like specifically like fear in God, it's not to have like fear of him, but it's to respect him and to kind of humble yourself before him. So people say it like, the fear of God is inside of me, and it's like that little voice that's telling you, this is wrong and you shouldn't do this, and this is right, you should do this. So we just have to realize that just because God isn't always stopping us from doing the bad things doesn't mean that his silence is the green light. It doesn't mean that his silence isn't okay for us to do the wrong thing. Like, we can't interpret his silence as an okay for us to do the wrong. Okay, so we have to realize that just because God isn't always stopping us from doing the wrong things doesn't mean that his silence isn't okay, or his silence is a green light for us to keep on doing the wrong things and keep on living our sinful lives. I think that a lot of people misinterpret what his silence, and we have this thing called, free will. Like, if I want to do something, I'm going to do it regardless. I know what is right, I know what is wrong, but the fact is that God gives us free will, and if we want to do something, eventually, if we want it bad enough, we're going to do it. God, he's there to give you guidance, but he gives you the will to do what you want. So section number 3 says, I will expose your righteousness and your works, and they will not benefit you. I translated it to, I will show everyone who you really are and what you do, and it won't be good. This one kind of hit home because a lot of the times, we do things in darkness, we do things behind closed doors, but eventually everything will come to light. And it's not a matter of if it's gonna come to light, but like when it's gonna come to light. So at the end of the day, how do you have to wait that long to change your ways? Because regardless, it's gonna come to light, And I feel like many times we try to hide things and put things under the rug, but it's easier and it's just so much better to live lives that are righteous and are, clear and that aren't like two-faced. We just want to be transparent with God and ourselves, because at the end of the day, we know that if what we're doing is right, or if it's. The fourth section is, when you cry out for help, let your collections of idols save you. The wind will carry them off. A mere breath will blow them away. I translated it to, when you ask for my help, let the things you left for me save you. Those things you love so much are so unstable, they can't even help themselves. The ending, I chose to say it that way because I feel like it's so true. Like, for example, for me, I hold on to different things that help me get through the hard times. Like even when I'm battling depression or different things that life throws my way, sometimes I don't even go to God. I build up idols, and idols can be anything that separate you from God. If it's music, if it's even family, friends, just people in general, relationships. I feel like a lot of things can become idols in our lives, and at a certain point, we realize that these idols can only help us for so long. We hold on to them, but everything ends in this world. Nothing is forever except God. So at the end of the day, the only thing that really, and I found this to be true, the only thing that truly satisfies you is the Lord. So it's crazy because we come to God as the last resort. We wait till the very end, and then we find that He's what we needed all along. So it's really sad when we leave God as the last option, because He should be our first option. And I think that before anything else, you should put God first. So the last and final section is, but whoever takes refuge in me will inherit the land and possess my holy mountain. I translated it to, but the ones who are righteous and run to me will receive. So this is true with both righteous people and people that are sinful, just like everybody else. God gives and He blesses everybody in different ways, but especially when you are righteous and you live a life according to His way, His will, He's going to bless you that much more. And it's sad that God has to see God has to see us go to everything else except Him, and Him as our last resort. But He says, you're even more blessed if you're righteous in my eyes and you run to me, have nothing else take place other than me first thing, have no more idols but me. So I think that's what God wants. God wants us to go to Him first and not anything else, and move all the idols out of the way. So I'd like to close by saying that the lifestyle many of us live is saddening to the Lord, but what I wanted to get across with these verses is really at the end of the day, we are the ones who lose because of the way that we live our lifestyles, and we really have to choose what is more valuable to us. Is our salvation more valuable to us than having these temporary joys or these temporary things that fill the holes that we have in our hearts? And at the end of the day, the only thing that fulfills you and satisfies you completely is the Lord. So you don't want it to be too late when you run to the Lord, and that's the saddest thing. It's really dangerous when we put everything else first and we come to the Lord last, because sometimes that works, and sometimes even when you come to Him last, you're fulfilled and you're forgiven and everything. But what if it's too late and you go to everything else and you go to the Lord and it's too late. I think that all of us, including myself, we really need to put in priority what's most important. What is our salvation more important, or are our idols more important? So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week, and thank you so much.